burn it down. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder.
I killed it, it's murder. Go crazy, berserker. I killed it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. My name is Erica. Today I'm going to show you how I created this fall inspired makeup look. And I used the Jacklyn Hill and Morphe eyeshadow palette, which is this one right here. I'm pretty sure everybody knows how it looks, but it's a really beautiful warm tone palette with lots of pops of color. Today I'm going to start off with this yellow as a transition shade. I've already set my eyelid using the Nars Soft Matte concealer. I'm using that as a base, and I did not set it because I want the colors to really pop. I usually do that technique with bold eyeshadow looks. And I'm just taking that yellow and putting it in the crease little by little and building up the intensity of that shade by applying 2 or 3 layers and blending it upward into the brow area. I'm also kind of rounding it out, as you can see, so it doesn't really get blown out too much to the outer corner. I don't want it to look like a cat eye. I want it to be more rounded and smoky. So I'm just going to take this second shade right here, and I'm putting that also in the crease. I'm going to try and keep that lower underneath the first shade so it doesn't cover up that yellow that we've already applied. This is just to create dimension. And I'm going to go back and forth with a clean blending brush after I apply it. And I'm going to blend them together so that they have a nice soft transition. This is the clean blending brush. And I'm just going to keep building up the intensity of it and blending it out with the clean blending brush again. Then for my next shade, I'm going to be going in with this orangey warm tone shade right here, which I love. And I'm taking a smaller, more precise blending brush, and I'm placing that in the crease underneath the first 2 shades as low as possible. And I'm just building it up and blending in circular motions. And I'm also going to be taking that clean blending brush that we used to mend the first 2 shades together to blend everything together as well after I place this shade down. This is the clean blending brush, and I'm just kind of slowly blending it together. Keep in mind this is in fast forward, so this did take a bit more time than it looks, but we'd be here all day if I showed you every blending step of the way. This is the next shade we're taking is a warmer red kind of shade. Placing that directly on the outer corner and on the lid and on the inner lid portion. You know, that area right there on the lid, but on the inner corner. And I'm also rounding that out and doing circular motions with that shade so that it keeps the intensity of it. Then I'm going back in with the brush we used for the previous 2 shades, and I'm kind of blending all those shades together again. These kind of looks take a lot of blending and take a lot of patience, and just small circular motions. Don't get overwhelmed. Then I'm taking this black shade on the outer corner on the lid only, and I'm blending it out. Then I'm going to go in with the red shade, and I'm going to cover up the black. And I do this just to create a smoky effect without actually using too much of a black shade. And we are doing all this before our face makeup because there is quite a bit of fallout with this kind of eye look, especially when I'm filming, because I have to try and keep straight, which obviously I'm still not that good at. But at least I'm in frame. And then I'm just blending that out and making sure that they all kind of mend together really nicely. Then I'm going to cut my crease using that soft matte concealer from Nars. I'm taking a small shader brush. This is like a small concealer brush. I've had it forever, and I'm just kind of carving out the line where I want the crease to be cut, and I'm pushing the product downwards and outwards. And I'm bringing it further on my outer corner because I want the shimmer to really pop. I'm taking this Stila Magnificent Metal Glitter in Rose Gold Retro, and I'm putting that on my lid straight from the applicator, and then I'm going to take it on that precise brush, and I'm going to just get it as close to that line that we cut as possible. These glitters are really easy to use. Just work in small sections because they dry pretty quick. And then I'm going to take my blending brush on that outer corner and blend it together. Then we're going to take some wipes and clean up all the mess that has fallen down from the shadow. And just take it with your finger and kind of very gently wipe away all the fallout from the eyeshadow. These are just the wipes that I've been using lately from Sephora, which I love. I love Sephora's face wipes. They're super hydrating and gentle on the face. Then I'm going to prep my face with some moisturizer. This is the Korres Pomegranate moisturizer. This is really lightweight, great for normal, combo, or oily skin. And this works great as a base underneath makeup. It hydrates just enough without creating oils throughout the day. Then I'm taking a primer from Becca. This is the Backlight Primer. It's purple at first, but once you blend it out, it just gives a really nice glow to the skin. It's a hydrating primer. I'm just applying that everywhere. And then on the center of my face, only on my nose and my T-zone, I'm taking this mattifying primer from Too Faced, which is the Peach Perfect Mattifying Primer. And I'm just pressing that into my T-zone area just to make sure that everything lasts throughout the day. Then for foundation, I'll be using the Makeup Forever HD foundation. And I'm going to apply that with my clean fingers. Make sure your fingers are clean if you're using anything that you're applying on your face. Make sure you wash your hands first. I always keep an extra hand sanitizer right next to me also. And I'm just going to be blending that down my neck because the shade is just a little bit darker. And I'm going to blend it out. After I apply it with my fingers, I like to take a damp beauty sponge and kind of press it into the face. I do that because it gives a really skin-like finish, but you still get more coverage than just going in with the Beauty Blender when you use your fingers, because the warmth from your fingertips melts the product into your skin. That's just the way I like doing it. You can apply your foundation any way you feel comfortable. Since this is a light to medium coverage, I'm going in with a second layer just in the areas that I want, basically the lower half of my face, and I'm applying that the same way. And I'm using the Equal Tools beauty sponge, which I've really been enjoying lately. All right, then for concealer, I did not even film the whole thing I was doing, but I'm using the Nars Soft Matte Concealer, and I'm using that underneath my eye. This shade is pretty light. I only use this when I do dramatic eye looks, this kind of shade, so that it can really lighten underneath, since we've got so much darkness going on underneath the eye. This is about 2 shades lighter than my complexion. So because it's so light, you've got to bring it in the center of your face so that it can create a subtle contour and highlight, as opposed to just having a really white under eye. It'll create some nice contrast and shadows in your face. So I'm blending that out with a damp beauty sponge. Be careful not to mess up the outer corner of your eyeshadow, which is why this sponge is pretty cool. It's got that flat little spot that you can get right underneath there without messing it up. And it doesn't absorb a lot of product either. To set my under eye, I'll be using the Rimmel Stay Matte Translucent Powder, which is, it's not so translucent, but it's a really good powder. I do like how it makes the skin look, so I use it only underneath my eye because it gives just a little bit of extra coverage and brightness. And again, I only use this powder when I'm doing a dramatic eye look because it is very brightening. And I'm using that in the center of my face. For the rest of my face, I'll be using the Ben Nye Translucent Setting Powder in the shade Buff, which is my favorite, one of my favorite powders ever. I always use this. And I'm setting the rest of my face, and I'm using my beauty sponge to do that. And then to wipe away any excess powder and to buff out the entire face, I'm using the Tarte buffing brush. And I'm just wiping away all the extra powder, making sure that it just kind of melts seamlessly into the skin. This also helps to make the makeup last all day. For bronzer, I'll be using the Milani Baked Bronzer in the shade Glow, which I also didn't get the whole time. I would bronze my whole face already, but I'm going to show you guys how I did it. I just apply it on my cheek area, on my jawline, and along my hairline. And I dust a little bit over my nose and my chin as well. I love this bronzer. It gives you that kind of J-Lo glow vibe. Then to contour my nose, I'll be using the Rimmel Natural Bronze in Sunlit. I like to use this bronzer because it doesn't have a glow like the other one, so it creates a nice contour for the nose, and you can't really contour with that other bronzer because it's got too much sheen to it. But I also contour my Cupid's bow and underneath my lip just to create some dimension in the face, since we've got that really light concealer. And I'm going to blend all that out with my buffing brush very gently. If you need a more precise blending brush, you can get one for the spots that are too small for the big brush. Then we're gonna just blend that out a little bit more and make sure that's nice and seamless. And to contour the rest of my face, I'll be taking the Hula bronzer just in the hollows of my cheek, along my hairline and along my jawline. I'm taking very little product. I'm not using a lot. This is just to create some extra shadow. Most of the time I'll go in with one bronzer and that's it. But when I do a really look like this, I'll do extra and I'll contour. For blush, I'm using Melba from MAC. I'm using this on the apples of my cheeks and pressing it back into the rest of my bronzer. And I always pass whatever is left over on the brush, a little bit on my nose and chin. And for highlight, I'll be using the Nars Orgasm Highlighter, which I love. This is actually the first time I tried it, and I was scared it was gonna look like a blush, but it actually really looks like a highlighter. It's beautiful. And in person, it's very natural. It's not like a powdery highlight, which is pretty cool. And my husband just brought me my lashes because I didn't know where I put them. All right, then I'm gonna highlight down the center of my face on my Cupid's bow, on the bridge of my nose, and along my chin. And I'm doing that with a more precise brush, and I'm also gonna blend that out. And then to add my beauty marks back in, I'll be using the Anastasia Dipbrow Pomade. And I'm just putting my beauty marks where they already are. Some of them will show through certain foundations, some of them won't. And then the two in the center of my face, I don't have beauty marks there. I just like how that looks. So I've been doing that lately. And then for lashes, I'm using the Bold Face lashes in Go Big or Go Home. Nothing new here. I love these lashes. Sorry, I can't quit them. Once I start falling in love with other lashes, I promise I'll use more. I'm going to be using my House of Lashes lash glue, and I'm going to just glue a little rhinestone to my Cupid's bow. This one is a Swarovski crystal from Michaels. Then for lipstick, I'll be using the Anastasia lipstick in the shade Honey. I was going to do liner, but this lipstick has a really nice formula, so you can kind of shape your lips without lining them because it's a matte formula, but it's a creamy matte. Then for gloss, of course, I got to put gloss on top. I'm using the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb, which is my favorite gloss. If you guys don't know by now, now you know. I can't quit it either. For setting spray, I'll be using the Fresh Rose Facial Toner Mist. I've just been enjoying this to set my makeup lately. It's not necessarily a makeup setting spray, but it does a nice job at melting the powders into the skin and making it look like skin again. All right, and that's it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker.
Show them.